The quest for women's participation in politics and decision-making in Nigeria is one that has been keenly lobbied for, with low levels of progress recorded over the years. 27 years since the 1995 Beijing Declaration, which saw 189 countries of the world agreeing to implement gender parity and ensure increased participation of women in leadership and decision-making process, among others. Dana Daniel Ziggy examines the implementation progress in Nigeria, among other African countries. The report.
The failure of lawmakers to pass the 35% affirmative action in the National Assembly in March 2022 dealt a blow on the implementation of the 1995 Beijing Declaration in Nigeria. However, with a court ruling in April mandating the federal government to comply with the 35% affirmative action, women in Nigeria are optimistic successive governments will be sanctioned if they fail to conform.
The gender appropriation bills that were sent to the National House of Assembly. This has been an effort that's been ongoing since 1999, since we turned into democratic rule. We haven't seen the reception that we need to see, especially within the government quarters, in terms of putting in place the kind of policies that are required for, this gender equality to happen. And so the gender appropriation bills were thrown out, with blatant audacity, because it just takes that to think that women are insignificant, to the point that we would put in a bill and they would throw it out just like that.
Though Western countries recorded significant progress in executing women inclusion in politics, African countries like South Africa, Uganda, and Ethiopia have fared well in this regard. According to statistics released by the World Economic Forum, Nigeria ranked 123rd out of 146 countries on the Global Gender Gap Index in 2022. This has stirred up questions on what could possibly be the reasons behind the gender gap and the cold feet towards a legal commitment for more women in leadership positions. Culture has been identified as one of the limiting factors, and religious dispositions have also been linked to gender gaps at different levels of society. However, this perception does not negate the potentials of women in politics and leadership. Leadership researchers based on data have given facts to determine positive gender differences in leadership effectiveness worldwide. Alluding to the place of women in nation building, Minister of Women Affairs Pauline Talon decries marginalization of women in Nigeria.
My heart bleeds. I'm not happy with all our political parties as far as women issues are concerned. Our political parties, all of them, are not fair to women. It's not that we don't have qualified women to contest, but along the way, everything takes place within the party structure. If you are not within the party structure in the party secretariat, you will be phased out.
The determination of Nigerian women to obtain a fair chance in national decision-making says it all. And if the bargain is just for 35% placed on the leadership table, what then has become of the federal character principle and human rights when a section of population feels disregarded?
Now, that was Dana Daniel Ziggy giving us an examination of women participation in politics in Nigeria. Now to legislative matters, where